Hello, everybody. Welcome back or welcome to the Sound Mind Strategies podcast. This is one of the hosts, Evan. Sitting alongside of me is my beautiful wife and now mother to my child.
Yay! New mom status.
Yeah. So cool.
It is.
Wow. So we missed a week.
Yes.
A little busy.
Had little baby Theo.
Yeah, Theo. Okay, so yeah, let's just run through everything, just to catch everyone up. New people, we've kind of been following along. It's kind of been interesting because the episodes followed along with the kind of a corresponding week of your pregnancy, right?
Yes.
So let's get a little rundown of what'd you have, what'd you name him. What are all his stats and everything?
Okay, yeah. So we named him Theodore Kent Blankenship. He also goes by Theo a lot, or Teddy. He's gonna have a million different little nicknames.
Yeah, we love nicknames. So I think Theodore works out really, really well for that.
It does.
Ted, Teddy, even TK. We figured we'd let his buddies come up with TK, but
there we go. Yeah. We're already thinking about all that stuff. And so yes, little baby boy. He was 7 pounds, 12 ounces, and 21 inches long.
Yeah. So
quite the baby.
Yeah. 7'12", 21 inches long. And just for reference, you're 5 foot nothing.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So he was running out of room. So, and he went full term plus 2 days.
Plus 2 days. Yes.
Yeah. So his due date, which was February 2nd. Mm-hmm. So it was 02/02/2020. And we were like, please, Jesus, kick this baby out.
I know. What a cool date, right?
So Sunday, that's also Super Bowl Sunday. It came and went, no baby. We did everything we could think of to like all the
walked on.
Yes. All the stories and all the things like, oh, I did this and I was in labor, like, okay, none of it happened.
You even did some acupuncture too. And
yeah.
All the things.
All the things. Everything.
Yeah.
People are like, hey, try this. Like, done it. Check. Yeah. But so we had just in case he didn't come, we had a already scheduled visit with our doctor on Monday, the following day, right? So do you want to kind of give a little rundown on that?
Yeah. So we went to that appointment and thank the Lord, Evan had the foresight to have us bring our bags just in case. Which worked out beautifully because we needed them. We went to his ultrasound and he was practice breathing, but he wasn't moving. So they had me try to move positions, drink cold water, all these different things to kind of get him to move, and nothing happened. So they had to induce me. So it was a long.
Yeah, his heart rate was good.
Yeah.
Your fluid levels were great. Everything was good. It was just like he just wasn't moving.
Yeah.
But he had never shown any signs of that before. So they went ahead and put him on a fetal put from the ultrasound, went to an actual fetal monitor for a few minutes just to kind of set you at ease because you got a little upset, which rightfully so. He was
crying.
Well, it's an emotional time, right? Like, is everything okay? Like,
right.
Is my baby okay? And so we were actually scheduled for induction the very next day on the Tuesday. And I think just knowing, I was like, well, we're here Monday afternoon. If anything, induction is Tuesday morning. I'll just throw everything in the car if we don't come home. If not, it'll stay in the car overnight and we'll go right back. Mm-hmm. So luckily I went ahead and just loaded everything out and we were in comfortable clothes because boy, did we need it. They said, you're staying and starting induction this afternoon. So
yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So let's see. They got induction started around 5:30 p.m. on Monday.
Had Pitocin and
yeah, that stuff was no joke.
No, that was horrible. Like, I've never been in that much pain in my whole life. And I was like, dang it. I wanted to not use any medication, but it got to a point where I was just like crawling out of my skin. So I opted for the epidural, and boy, was that like a game changer.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Like, this will kind of go, it won't just be about like, your labor, delivery and everything, but that goes very much in hand with the topic that we want to talk about is like, when things don't go according to plan.
Yes.
So just to kind of rewind back to that, let's see, induction at 5:30 p. Kind of just hanging out, chilling, right? So we actually had one of your friends brought dinner over, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That was wonderful.
So nice. Yes.
And then middle of the night, about 2 a.m., you get up just normal, head to the bathroom, water breaks.
Yeah.
Right? And you're still not even feeling contractions.
The Pitocin still hasn't kicked in.
Well, it had been running, but contractions were there. I could see them on the screen that I was watching, but you weren't feeling them.
Right.
But water broke, and I'd say it wasn't 15, 20 minutes later. Like, there was no ease in. It was like, oh, I feel one. And then the very next one was like, okay, this is tearing me in half.
Yeah. I went through that for about 5 hours.
Yeah. So
5 hours.
That's 2 a.m. or so. And then I remember, because your goal was, we went in with a plan of no epidural. And so I don't remember what time we're like, okay, the next visit when they were going to come check on you was about 6 a.m. And it was probably 5:30 or so, 5:40. I was like, okay, Anina, and you were in some pain, and I did not want to tell you no, but I just kept reminding you, this was your plan. You're 100% okay to throw an audible, and I support whatever. But you asked me to do this, so I'm going to do this. I felt terrible because I was like watching you in agony, but I was like, okay, you want to make it, would you like to try to make it to 6 and then make a decision, And you said yes. So we kind of, the amount of time between contractions, and there were probably like 5, maybe 6 contractions that we had to go through before that visit. And yes, so made it that far to the visit, to the next check from the nurse, and we're like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
Let's get it in. So they finally got you epidural administered, and probably working around 7 a.m. So
yeah,
but he didn't come until, what time did he come?
3:47 p.m. the next day.
Yeah. So Tuesday afternoon, 3:47 p. Like,
push for 2.5 hours.
Yes. So actual time to push. And we're like sending texts out to family, like, all right, she's there, ready to push. And man, another 2.5 hours.
A long couple days.
Yeah. But
seems like a blur still.
It was worth the wait. He's been quite the little stud. He
is really fun.
I mean, as fun as a newborn can be. I mean, they don't really do a whole lot.
Right. Just sleep, eat, cry.
Little demanding, but
he's in here with us right now, so if you hear anything, we may have to.
Yeah, he's down for a nap, and he's actually been sleeping pretty well. Like, yeah,
he has been. Yeah,
we have nothing to compare this to because this is our first child, but like, I think we're doing okay.
I think so.
I think we're doing okay. So, so I guess that kind of wraps up everything. I know this has kind of been a little bit of a long intro, but we do have a really good episode planned for you guys. What do we do when things don't go according to plan? So,
right.
Go ahead and sit back, find a comfy spot, crank up them earbuds, and enjoy the episode. All right, Anina, so what do you do when things don't go quite according to plan?
Well, I typically throw a temper tantrum.
Well, don't we all? I mean, I know that's kind of a joke, but is that not like one of the most common responses? Yeah,
definitely. I'd say so.
I mean, it's one of mine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's at least both of our responses. It's really, really difficult. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, with the pregnancy and everything, it's like I had this plan, this is how it's going to go. It didn't go according to like my plan. And, it was a little like disheartening, it's kind of played out in your mind. I did anyways, how it was going to pan out. And then it's like, dang it, like I missed the mark. What happened? Like, so anyways, it's just, it can kind of rattle me for a little while sometimes.
Yeah, I think we spend so much time. I mean, think about the whole point of a plan, right? You actually spend time cultivating this plan, this idea, this process that you see in your mind of actual, probably, has a valid shot of working out, right? Or else, I mean, not everyone's plan probably is that, I don't know, probable. It's like in an ideal situation, in a vacuum in the universe somewhere, this could happen.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think most people, who actually sit down and cultivate a proper plan, goals, actions, action steps and all that, smart them up, but like sometimes they just don't work.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's, like as I was thinking about this and what we were going to talk about, just thinking like, okay, so when this does happen, how did I used to recover and how do I like recover now? Because I feel like I've really grown and changed a lot in the way that I respond to when things don't go my way. And, for instance, even with the pregnancy, since it's like the freshest example, it was just like, you know what? Your goal was to have a healthy baby and you did.
Yeah. Number one goal.
Yes.
That supersedes every other thing within the pregnancy that you wanted.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? That's a blessing in and of itself, even though it didn't work out just meticulously the way I envisioned it to. It's still.
Yeah. You wanted to do it, not medicated. And you did not want to have to be induced and you wanted him to come on a certain date and all these things. Like really how much control, I guess you did have control, whether not the induction. I mean, theoretically, yes, you could have told Doc, no, I'm waiting, and she would have respected that. But I mean, no sane mother, I think, would have done that.
Really gone against the doctor's orders.
Outside of that, you did have control of to say, no, I want this epidural, or yes, no, I don't, or yes, I do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But again, like from what I was watching and knowing you and knowing how ridiculously, I want to say they're tough you are, because it really wasn't a battle of strength. It was sheer toughness and mental toughness, and I don't think anyone can compete with you. Well, I'm sure there are, but you're in an elite group of mental toughness, and to watch that and just to see you in that kind of shape, like it would have happened. I would have been tapping out, hours and hours ago. So.
But it's. Exactly. It's like I'm able to look back at it now and just like, hey, the end goal was what I wanted. Like we said, a healthy, happy baby, and that's what we got. So, that's like the freshest one for me. But what about you? Like, what do you do, like now to recover when things don't go exactly the way you planned them to go? Well,
I think. Because I didn't really even have a plan B. Like this is one of the like when you asked that, one of the things that popped in my head when I did that Katy trail ride and I was trying to, I was raising money for a Wounded Warrior Project, and my goal was not necessarily the power I needed to ride or whatever. The goal was to ride it in a specific time, to set the fastest known time to, across that trail system. And I failed. I literally, I mean, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Like what I did from start to finish and whatever happened in the middle yielded a less than perfect outcome. Mm-hmm. I have the second fastest time across.
Yeah.
But, so what happened? Let's revisit some of those things. I took a wrong turn. Mm-hmm. So that was poor planning without scouting, right? 242 miles is kind of hard to scout all of it. But I did my Google research and, the Google Maps and all that. And I got stopped by a train. I got stopped by down trees twice, a couple dismounts. So what did I do to recover? Well, I pretty much didn't get off the bike. I had 12 minutes of stop time. So that was within my wrong turn to pull out my phone and re-navigate,
Right.
and then a couple times I had to dismount to get around down trees and stuff like that. So of 14 plus hours, I had 12 minutes of stop time. That was my plan B. Okay, I'm on a time crunch. I've already messed up. Now I have to ride harder, and stop less.
Right.
So it was not fun. It was not comfortable. It wasn't easy, but that was my readjust. I could have said, okay, we're just cancel. We'll tackle this another day. Let's start tomorrow. I wasn't too far in where I said I could do this tomorrow and get a fresh run at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I pressed on. I stuck to as close of plan A as I could. I still rode the whole thing. I still rode for something greater than myself, that was the ultimate goal. Like do something in an effort, for something greater than me. So it wasn't necessarily about setting the time. It was, for Wounded Warrior Project. And that was something that was important to me. So I had to swallow my pride a little bit. I think that was I said a lot of things just to basically say that, like, I had to swallow my pride and just kind of readjust and do the best I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it kind of sounds like you had to do like an analysis of kind of thinking about like, why did it go wrong? What could I do different?
Yeah.
Next time, basically.
Or it wasn't even really a next time, is like, what can I do differently than what was planned for the next, I don't remember where that was. Maybe I'm 4 hours in. Maybe for the next 10 hours, what do I need to do differently to get back on track, if possible?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, in other scenarios, yes, you have a time to like, okay, next time readjust or hit this again. But like in this scenario, it was very much of an on the fly. How do I readjust?
Yeah. Yeah, because you obviously could have just thrown that temper tantrum and laid it all down.
I did. I was mad, and granted, there was no one to talk to or yell at, but but myself, and I was pretty frustrated, but
yeah, I kind of just kept driving on,
right? Basically,
yeah, and it makes me think too, just back to like, for me in the past. When things didn't go right, sometimes it would just be, well, I'm just going to give up, just lay it down. Obviously, this wasn't for me. Or, I always would hear Joyce Meyer say, go to the throne, not the phone, kind of thing.
Yeah. And to be fair, I did not. I should have, and I know better, but I think I was just so upset, But that's not an excuse. Like, that's all the more reason to do that. To go to the throne and not the phone, or scream it out and
right. So do something to kind of just get it out, basically. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times too, for me, would be sometimes even when things didn't go right, would be kind of get that victim mentality, like, woe is me, why is it always me, why does it always happen to me kind of thing. And I've definitely have learned a lot through that of what it did to me and how it affected me. So, yeah, definitely changed the way I do things now. But I do ask myself those questions, or try to look back at things and ask those questions. Like I was saying to you earlier, like, why did it go wrong? Like, what happened, basically? What was in my control? What was out of my control? What am I going to do what am I going to do about it next time? And then, like, what is my plan of action, basically?
I think those are some really great questions to ask. But I think the theme of all those questions, to be successful in answering them and moving forward from those, is to really have a non-judgmental mindset when asking and answering those questions.
Mm-hmm.
If the ultimate goal is to do it better, to do it more efficiently, thoroughly, whatever, then you really need to dissect the effort, or the scenario. What happened?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? Why did I fall short? What was the thing that went wrong? I really feel like those are some excellent questions. Now, have you been able to apply any of those? Like, how could you apply that to? I guess like, well, in baby number 2, I'm not saying there's going to be, but like,
right. Like, and I think that goes down to the question that I listed of like what's in my control and what's out of my control, because I feel like if there's another instance like that where I have to be induced, it's out of my control. Like if the doctor's saying like, hey, this needs to happen for the protection of your baby, I feel like that's something that's out of my control. So yeah, I feel like if there's another baby, you know, it would be something I'd have to think about, because it's not something I can definitely control for that variable. If I have to be induced, but if I don't have to be induced, it's like I can control like what I decide to do with that, to get an epidural or not, or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of one of those, doesn't quite fit it totally.
Well, I think both of ours are kind of like pretty far-reaching scenarios. I mean, what if we kind of come up with something a little bit more everyday? I guess having a baby is, you know, a lot of people do that. Not many people kind of set. But I mean, even my goal, I guess, I mean, you can size that up to fit your goal. Like if it's running a marathon, or even, you know, getting off the couch and running your first 5K, or losing weight, or a new job, apply it to anything. How do we step out of like maybe a victim mentality and move into just proper planning or readjusting? What do you think?
Yeah. I think part of it comes to me is thinking about like the non-judging yourself, like you said earlier. And then also just kind of seeing like what is, like I was thinking about it too, like what is the blessing on the other side? Because maybe right now it seems like, dang, I really should have gotten that job. I didn't get it. But then it's like, to me, I always see there's like a blessing on the other side. There's something else that's waiting for me. Is the way I've seen it now, but just the way I've seen like the Lord work through things in my life, where it's like, whoa, I'm so glad you not give me that job that I shed a million tears over, because this was way better than that. So I think for me, it's just maintaining that positive attitude that like, okay, this didn't work out exactly how I thought, but it doesn't reflect anything about me. It's just a kind of a cool spot to be in, I think, because it's like obviously something else is coming my way that I need even more so. So when I really shifted my focus to think of it like that, it doesn't feel so like doom and gloom and I missed the mark kind of thing.
Yeah. No, when you say that, like, you know, I had a lot of those same thoughts with a new job, or, you know, even buying the home. Like it just didn't work out the way I thought it should, maybe. The timing was all wrong. God did not listen to me, and he did not move according to my clock.
Right.
And I was a little frustrated, but because I had gone through so many other things in the past, and I have waited on God before, and he's shown that he's always on time, and his timing always supersedes my timing.
Right.
I was able to find peace in it. And it still doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, well, if we were going to get this home, why not 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months earlier? Or, you know, why wouldn't I get the job earlier? You know,
right.
This transition period would have maybe been a little smoother, or having everything just kind of like pile up on each other, like would have been easier on us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I never will, or maybe I will soon in the future.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like, oh, okay, thank you. Like now I see. But at the same time, like I don't need that.
To see it, right?
Everything is working out and has worked out so far. Like we love our home. Like we could have maybe pulled the trigger on several others, but like it was so funny. Like, and we felt so bad because we were working with this realtor for literally 18 months trying to find a place, and like she was so kind and was so happy like the whole time. And even when we finally found this place, she goes, you know, I'm really just so thankful that you guys didn't and waited. And like, you know, I don't know how many homes she showed us, a lot, like, and you know, it's just like, you know, God's timing is all over this, and you know, you'll see. And like, yes, it is. And it's just so cool. Like just how everything's playing out. So we could have been very frustrated. We could have forced it and just actually bought something earlier, but we were really waiting and being patient, and we knew when it would be right.
Exactly. Yeah. And things didn't all go according to our plan. Like we thought it was going to go, but it's like, man, everything did work out like very beautifully. And so it still is like encouraging, I think, for me to think about things that way too, and not just totally get, get all grumpy about it when things don't go the way I thought they were going to go.
Oh yeah. Like we could have been all angry and mad. And like you said, just you imagine that the little toddler throwing a temper tantrum, laying on the ground, kicking and screaming. Like we could have done that, but instead we're just like, whatever. Okay. And we were literally like in our apartment in St. Louis saying, we'll wait. We're not ready to settle.
Yeah.
We know the right one is coming. And literally the very next morning, like,
Right. Exactly.
Like, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. It showed up.
Ready to show off. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a total mindset shift, I feel like, and just drawing upon reminding ourselves of the blessings that he has given us in different areas of our life. So sometimes just remembering those, it's just like, oh yeah, this didn't go like I thought it was going to go, but I remember X, Y, and Z have happened before, and it wasn't the way I thought I envisioned it, but it all worked out perfectly. It's almost just kind of having like one of those like little remembrance jars,
Yeah.
of things that have gone really, really well.
It was funny. I was having, actually, what you just said reminded me of something. I was having a conversation with my mom. I think it was after he was born. We were talking about something, just how things work out. And she's like, like I've been praying about something, and I really just get this idea in my head of like this. And like, then you can almost sit back because we've lived life and watched God work in other areas, or just, had scenarios play out. It's just like, okay, I know 100% that is not going to happen, because like, then it would have been like, so it's like, okay, well, I'll just quit trying to come up with scenarios, because
right, it's like go the reins
definitely
a bit.
not going to happen.
Exactly.
It was funny. I was like, that's so true, because, in so many ways and it's almost funny, like, oh, I could really see that. Like, well, definitely not going to happen that way.
Exactly. So just ixnay that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it is just kind of like, I feel like the nuts and bolts of this too is like just our mindset shift, and just knowing there's something else on the other side. And it is going to work out one way or another, whether it's the way you envisioned or not. And throw in the adult temper tantrum just kind of digs you in deeper into, at least for me, into feeling just really bogged down. So
it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this then. Things don't go according to plan. Anytime we kind of have these scenarios that we're like orchestrating, like, okay, I could really see this, and this is going to happen, and then probably that, like, and then we just said, well, don't even think on that, because that's obviously not going to happen. In your opinion, should we then not plan? Should we then not come up with ideas or scenarios, or work towards goals, or set action steps?
No, I mean, I still think we should. I mean, at least for me, it's helpful for me to give me something to work towards, because I always think of that, like that a quote, like a vision without a plan is a hallucination.
Yeah.
And it makes me just think about that like it is okay to have a vision for something and a plan for something. I think it's just the way we react to it when it doesn't go the way we thought it was going to go is what the big kicker is, I think. So no, I think it still is important to like plan. At least for me it is, because it gives me something to work towards. And I'm kind of somebody who needs that carrot in front of me to keep going, or else I'll just kind of be a blob and not do anything. So for me, I need that.
A blob. Yeah. I don't see that. And I don't think anyone that knows you would agree with that, but I definitely understand what you're saying. I'm very much in the same boat of that. Like, maybe what I need to do for me is start lifting up how much of the fine details I put on the plan. Start maybe not worrying so much, just like, here's where I am, be very clear in my understanding of where I am currently, what that whole situation looks like, my time, my energy levels, status quo, everything, financial levels, whatever you need to bring into the picture, and then have an understanding of where I'd like to be. So that's the goal, right? And then set the compass in that general direction, and then just start moving.
Oh,
you
I like that.
You might need 1 or 2 first action steps, but don't worry about 10 down the road.
Right.
Because, by the time you hit 4, 5, and 6, it's going to be different. You're going to have shifted course. You might eventually get back on course, but, if you're just saying, like, if I point my compass from here to New York City and I draw it on a map, like, there's going to be things that come up in my original plan
that
I'm not going to be able to stick to that. I'm going to have to go off course. Now, I might rejoin the original route later, or I might have to get to plan my final destination a completely different way.
Yeah, so true.
So just start heading that way.
I like that. That's a good way to think about it. Like a nice visual.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's like what you said. That's a very important thing. Is just to not get so bogged down in the actual details, but to set the compass. I think
exactly.
To me that's one of the biggest things. And visuals for me is if I can just like really have a clear understanding of now and here, and then set compass to final destination, or my idea of final destination.
Right.
Yeah. Because like I'll have a clear image of what that is, after the first action step and the second and third. And when I readjust, mid route,
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I like how you think about it on the map. It's like, there's going to be different little twists and turns on the map, or things you didn't maybe notice.
Yeah. Road closer.
Exactly. A road close or something.
Whatever.
Yeah. The variables that you can't control. So it's like, okay, but there's a workaround.
It doesn't mean stop. It doesn't mean go back to home. It means find alternate route. Exactly.
Kind of think outside the box a little bit and see what else there is. Yeah. And just kind of goes to that mindset. I feel like the whole fixed or growth mindset. Like, what are you doing with that?
Yeah. That's funny that you say that. 'Cause I mean, if I just kind of like rewind and think about myself and years ago, man, it would have been so hard. It depends, like how many you run into.
Mm-hmm.
The first one,
roadblocks.
Yeah, the first one, like okay, this is annoying, but you run into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after obstruction and detour. Then you start to question: should I even be on this route? Like, should I even be doing this?
Is this my sign?
Yes, and that's a real gut check.
It is. That's very true. Kind of makes you have to really sit down and like contemplate and really ponder, like, what is this what I'm really wanting? Is this for me? Because this is getting intense, all these roadblocks and obstructions. And
I think that's when a real analysis of like, what's your passion and what's your purpose and what's your, like, that's when everything should come into play.
Yeah.
Like, is my passion down the road?
Yes.
Is there something that I need to learn here? I think that's one of the questions that I've learned along the way of like, when I keep running into things over and over that are really hard, challenging, make me question stopping altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this just something I need to learn? Is this something that I've like been, should have learned, several obstacles ago, and I'm just not learning?
Slow down then and think about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think I have a visual of like, I remember this one time you told me you went on a bike ride and like you kept getting these like road closed or dead end, and everything you looked up had never shown any like thing like that. When you looked at the maps, like no dead end. And I remember like one time one of the bridges was out and you had to like maneuver some way to like get around it.
Okay,
and
that was another long point to point. And yeah. On the map, of course, it went through, but it was a brand new road, and it was a bridge that they had the beginning and the end done, but like,
nothing in between.
Yes, large drop offs.
Well, and it just makes me think like,
that was wild.
In that whole scenario, it's like you knew like, hey, this is my destination is over here. I got to get there, and you were very intuitive and figuring out how to bypass that stuff.
Well, and I do remember that specifically, and it was just what I did was I stopped, took a couple selfies, and took a couple photos of what was around me, and I just figured it out. And it was a part of the journey, and it was a memory for the ride, and not like the ride is ruined. Like I wasn't out setting a pace. I was just enjoying the long point to point. I was enjoying the training. And was the whole day ruined, or was the training ruined because I had to climb down this bridge and hike a bike for a while through some boulders? No, it was actually kind of fun. Like looking back, it was annoying, but like I had fun with it, and took an opportunity to like smile and laugh.
Exactly. Sometimes just stopping and smiling and laughing can do wonders for the mind and body.
Yeah.
When
Now,
you stop
the
and do
other point, like after that one, like that was kind of first, and then road went through on the map on, I have it all routed out, and then like it just dumps me off in the middle of the woods, like quite literally. Like I don't even, like I'm taking all these like very, very back roads, and like this is getting really kind of rough. Like cars are probably not back here, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm in the woods.
You're like,
It was like kind of like a Jeep trail, and then into a 4-wheeler trail, and then into like nothing. Like, oh man. So I had to turn around, and that cost me a couple miles, and it was hot. And I got a little frustrated, but it was just like, whatever, like
you gotta drive on.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I think if you would have let that just totally bomb your day.
Yeah. I tried not to.
Yeah.
I tried not to. Not always a success.
Right.
But I was still way better. I had to keep going. I'm literally halfway there.
Right.
And, there's no cars to pick me up. There's nothing. Point to point. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey.
Were you Uber?
Yeah, there was no Ubers. Trust me. Uber?
Called Jimmy John's out there, right?
yeah. Jimmy John's.
Where's my freaky fast sub?
That would have been easy.
Yeah.
Easier.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is something I wanted to bring up. I'm sure you're familiar, but for all the listeners and people that kind of follow on social and everything, you may have seen or picked up, we use tribe quite a lot. Like when we're talking to you, the listener, or you, the social interactions. So where does that come from? We had a question about why do we use tribe?
Mm-hmm.
So it actually comes from, we didn't just pull it out of thin air. It was something that we saw and thought, it fit.
Yeah.
And it was really much in line with things that we do here at Sound Mind. So it comes from an African proverb, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So we kind of tweaked that into say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, take a village. But if you want to go fast and far, go with a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way we feel about what we do here is we have a mission and we have to go fast, and because we have purpose and we have drive,
right.
But we need to get somewhere very far from where we're currently at. So collectively, you are our tribe of people who were like-minded. We share, real visions, real purpose, real passion for things and for life. So you are our tribe, and that's kind of where that came from. So, thank you for asking that question. And,
yeah, that's a good question.
So that's, when you hear tribe, we are speaking to you, people who want to join in with us and interact with us and be that tight-knit group where we can really learn about you. You guys can learn about us more than just the episodes, but
right.
Interactions on social media, and we love to engage with people, answer questions. We are more than just the podcast. We live life just like you guys, and it's great to have questions and figure out what we do, and and we are very curious about you and what makes you tick, and what are your passions, what's your mission in life. So we definitely are very eager to know those things, and
we are.
would love to help and support in any way that we could possibly. So
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
So kind of getting back to when things don't go according to plan. So we kind of talked about just what it's like and the temper tantrum, the victim mindset. We kind of talked about, should we still set goals?
Mm-hmm.
So what else comes to mind for you when we kind of look at this topic? What, when things don't go according to plan?
I mean, just really for me, it's just kind of, I've touched on it earlier, just really just looking at like my mindset around it. I feel like that's a big piece that sticks out to me because I've gone around the mountain a million times before in the past and through the temper tantrum and did all the different things that were not productive. And where did it leave me? Still feeling really down and out. And so I think going through those times and those ebbs and flows in life and noticing that I wasn't getting anywhere fast, throwing those fits, it gave me a new understanding and realization of just the power of my mind and the mindset that I choose to embrace. And so really like that's, I think what comes to me the most is just, and I mean, it's not like it just happens overnight, it's a process of trying and failing, and then just getting fed up with that and figuring out there's got to be something else. And so when I started to look at things differently, and thinking about what is that blessing on the other side? What is the good that's going to come out of this for me that maybe I can't see right now? It helped me just to move forward and not get stuck in such a negative space. That's just what's personally really helped me. But I'm thankful I went through those temper tantrums, because had I not, I don't think I'd be on this side of things.
Yes, I agree. But at the same time, maybe it's the utopian state of like, maybe if I would have learned, how can I learn these things or teach these things to someone who has not struggled yet to develop this proper mindset and these skills so they don't have to go through the temper tantrum phase or the trips around the mountain phase, and just like be okay with things not go. I'm not saying their life's perfect, but like things will still not go according to plan, but I know how to handle it. I know how to process it. I know how to readjust and go from there. Is that possible? Or people need to go through their,
I almost feel like it's essential to go through those things.
Really?
I feel like it, because I think it, for me anyways, it's just given me a newfound respect for just understanding how my mindset plays a huge role in things. So kind of like I said, had I not gone through all that, I don't think I'd be on this side of things.
What about, like, I always think about, like, granted, here we are, we're just a few feet away from our beautiful little baby. Mm-hmm. And, one of the things that, like, I want to teach him everything I know. Mm-hmm. That way his starting point is on my shoulders, right? Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have to go through the things that I went through, just like my father did for me. I didn't have to go through a lot of the things that he had to go through,
Yeah, but you've gone through your own things, like,
right?
Yeah,
and he will go through his. I'm not saying that he won't, but if I can teach him those kind of things, how to develop mindset strategies, and dealing with hardship and dealing with obstacles, maybe he won't have to go through, or maybe his won't be as long.
Very true.
What I did,
because we'll have those skill sets already ingrained within him to kind of know, like, oh, hey, this could happen. I've kind of been prepared for this, that this could go this way. Yeah, so it may lessen them. It may lessen the impact of them. Okay. And I think they'll still be there. Is that
possible?
I think so. Like, because I think it's just like a tool. It's like you're giving him a tool and kind of showing him how to use it. And
because if we just teach him, like you would teach color, like you would teach language, like you would teach anything else, if we just teach, like, this is how we deal with hardship, and this is how we love, and this is how we, take care of people, and this is, if these are just the fundamental things of life, then that's all he'll know. Exactly.
And you got to make it fit for the situation, kind of, you have the groundwork. But yeah, applying it and figuring out how it's going to work in that situation.
Now, you mentioned like mindset and like the process that you've developed in mindset in working these things out and the process that you had to go through. And you said it was like a journey in learning these things. Like, how can you explain how, or maybe why, what, give us a clear idea of what that is.
Of like what my mindset should
Yeah,
look
I mean,
like?
just like, how do you do it? Like, how do you work on your mindset? Like, we hear those kind of things, but like, what are just the nuts and bolts of working on mindset?
Yeah, I think it's for me, it's been being very intentional about my thoughts. And when I notice, for instance, a thought that comes up that's not pure, that's not life-giving, that's not helping move me forward, it's like I almost like capture that thought and kind of capture it and kind of throw it out, basically. So it is almost like this visualization that I have. Like when I do get a thought about something, it's like I see it, and then I for me, it's like I rebuke that thought. That thought is not a thought that I want to have moving forward in X, Y, and Z. And so it's almost like in my mind, I see myself grabbing that thought and then throwing it like as far away as I can from me. Like that's what comes to me and what's helped me.
So it's an actual like real like visualization process.
Yes, it's like a real visualization process for me. And I don't just let that thought.
I mean, it's more than just like thought work. I mean, you go through like an actual visualization practice with your thought work of like taking, like actually seeing yourself take a thought captive, doing something with it, however you control it, box it, build it, and actually throw it.
I do. And then I don't stop there, because then I replace it with something that is more life-giving.
Okay.
And for me, it's a lot of times it's different scriptures or different positive affirmations that I've really leaned on. But then, so I get rid of it, but then I replace it with something else, because then I almost feel like there's like this
void or this
emptiness. And it's like, okay, yeah, you can shoot those as far as the east is from the west a million times, but it's like, but now you got to give yourself some life, because
okay, great, you got rid of something, now it's just a hole.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's like, let me fill that hole in. Yeah. So
maybe mine is a little bit different, but I kind of work, maybe mine isn't so much like matter of fact like yours in an actual visualization, but like I see that very much the same way of kind of like when people ask about diet stuff, like I don't like to give so much advice on that, like give some general ideas and some different ways, but like what about this and what about that? I think some of the better things to think about is just like, because most of the time it's like, is this good? Should I be eating this or not? Is this bad? It's all these good, bad labels. And it's just like, fill your stuff with, everything that is life-giving, everything that that is nutritious and wonderful, and fill your plate up with that. And then you'll eventually start to crowd out the things that shouldn't be there. So I kind of do that with my thoughts. I do that with people in my life. I do that with pretty much everything that kind of adds value, brings life, love, and peace, all these things, like all these qualities and values that are so important to me, like whether it's through nutrition, through human interaction, or my thoughts, the stuff I read, think, do, watch, like, is this adding value? Yes or no?
Right.
And then either continue or replace.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
That's
so it's very much
way
like what you do, but it's just a simple vetting process of everything that I come in contact with.
Yeah. I can see that being very helpful too. Just a different way to do it.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. But yes, I think I found that it is most helpful with people. I think that has been the easiest. And the most challenging is dealing with myself. My thoughts, like when they're my stories, when it's being told to me, it's very easy for me to just quickly vet that or refute that, or I don't even necessarily have to do it with them. I can just like, okay, nod my head, thank you, and no.
Right.
Because I'm not very, I don't like confrontation, so I generally don't just say like, I don't agree with that. Get that out of here. But if they stem from me internally and they're my ideas, even if they're just as negative and just as terrible, they're a little harder to vet because it's like you're a little. Well, I am a little kind of stuck with it, or stuck's not the right word. I don't know. I'm a little opinionated to it. I'm a little biased to it. Like, oh, that must have some value because it's mine. Like,
right.
No.
You're like, not always the case.
No,
like,
it's just as crappy.
Exactly. It is. Because sometimes we can be the hardest on ourselves. And
yeah, I think we just went through a training at work, and that was probably one of the biggest themes amongst the group is like we're quite often the hardest on ourselves than we are on other people. That was a very good challenging question that we would ask others in our groups is like, what would a child say to that? Or, what would your friend say to that? Or
yes.
Or even like, what would the older version of you say to that?
Yes.
And it's like, even the older version of me is so much kinder than current me.
The current you. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I always like that. It gives you a new perspective of how to look at it. Yeah, I even think sometimes too, like, okay, Anina, now would you say what you just said to yourself to a friend or a family member? No, you would like church it up, make it all nice and pretty.
Well, no, you'd just be nice. You'd just be polite. You'd just be kind. But for ourselves,
yourself,
like sometimes we're just so raw and just so abrasive.
I know. And it's like
very few people are actually that abrasive to others.
Exactly.
They exist.
They do, but
they absolutely exist, but not as frequent as we are as that abrasive to ourselves.
Oh, I know. That's so true. That's so true. I thought about that before too, like writing down what my thought was. And I was like, okay, so would you like, if your friend was going through this right now, was that what you would tell her? No. And think about like, what would you tell her? Okay, so maybe can you tell yourself that?
Well, no, because I got to be honest with myself. Like, well, it's still honest. It's just kind and, like founded in love.
Exactly. And it's a little more like motivating when you can do it like that rather than just beating yourself down. Yeah. But
all right. Let's land this plane.
All right.
What do you think?
I guess.
So where do you go when things don't go, or what do you do? Where do you go when things don't go according to plan? What's your quick 1-minute summary of that?
Well, 1 minute, shoot, the pressure. No, you're timing me. I mean, just a lot of just self-reflection, like going to the throne, not the phone. And just, whether it's journaling, whether it's talking it out with somebody, with myself or with you, just that's kind of like my place where I go. Either go get alone, do some journaling, go to the Lord, go to you, just somebody I trust to talk things out with. That's kind of what I do when I'm getting stuck and feeling sorry for myself. What about you?
Wow, that was good. I don't know. I didn't actually keep a timer, but that was pretty close. So for me, just a quick little summary. Deep analysis, honest, thorough analysis of where you are currently.
Mm-hmm.
No judging of where you are currently. It is what it is. Accept that. Point the compass in where you'd like to go. Be thoughtful and move fast and move far. So take a tribe.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
That's real. Like, non-judgmental is so key to this, and a tribe. Like, as much as an introvert as I am, I think that's the point of a tribe. Too many people is overwhelming for me, but too much room for error if I go alone. I need people to keep me in check, and I need people that I trust and I value, and that they find value in me. So together we will move far and we will go fast. That's what I do according to plan. Set the compass and figure it out along the way.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
That was definitely fast. Quicker than a minute.
I don't know. Maybe a minute 5. No. But okay. Thank you everyone for sticking with us, and hopefully you found some value in that. And maybe able to work some things out in your own life or whatever. So I
Share it with
appreciate
somebody that you think may need some tools too. So.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the love. Well, even the week that we were off, some of our posts, with baby Theo and for new mama and new daddy. So we appreciate it. And it was so nice to just see all the wonderful comments. And all the love that you guys sent our way. Yeah, very much appreciated. Awesome. So I think with that, we're pretty much done here. Wrap this up. So remember, going far and going fast, take a tribe. And when you go in power,
love,
and a sound mind.
Have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Peace.